Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
I wish I could bring on air some of the commentary I heard from Nick Savage a moment ago. I won't do that. But I am laptop-less this morning, so I actually think it looks cleaner with paper, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Like the rundown, I just think it's a cleaner look. I haven't organized it completely. I left my laptop this morning because I was working in the office, and one thing led to another, get my backpack, go, and I forgot the laptop.
It's happened to me. More than that, I forget my power cord.
That has happened. I've left it here. That's usually where I leave it. But anyway, I wanted to get into something, OB. So Athlon Sports, Athlon Steve is his name. Familiar with him?
No.
His name is Steve Lasson. I've seen him on with SEC Mike several times. I'm sure he's good. He has ranked the 16 offensive coordinators in the SEC. Okay?
Okay.
And he ranks our friend, Holman Wiggins, 15th. Now, this is where, and I may have to have Kaylee Dreyer do a little research here. I'd like to figure out how many of these are first-year OCs. I should have done that in my prep this morning. I did not. But a couple thoughts on that, OB, just to open up.
Well, first of all, okay, if you've not been an offensive coordinator before, all right.
Okay. I give it incomplete.
But I would venture to bet that if you put the average Georgia fan, and he saw Mike Bobo at number 3, he would say, Mike Bobo should be behind Holman Wiggins because they hate him.
But he actually had a note on Bobo. Nick, do you have that tweet by SEC Mike? Or I think maybe not. He actually explains the why behind Bobo being there. I think they were number 6 in offense last year. But
the on the tweet that SEC Mike put out, he says number 3, or well, I guess Athlon Stevens says it. Number 3, Mike Bobo. The last 3 years, Georgia is 2nd, 5th, and 6th in the SEC in scoring.
Okay.
All right. I'll say this right now.
Tell me right now.
Right now, without seeing him coaching a game, I will take, on the record, I would take Holman Wiggins today.
Play calling?
As an offensive coordinator.
Okay. All right.
Over Mike Bobo.
Look, if you want to put him at 15 and put INC right after, incomplete, I think it's very hard to grade somebody that's not done the job.
Yeah, I mean, he may turn out to be
the best.
I mean, the same guy, if he was alive in, when was it, 82, 80, would have said, okay, I'm going to rank the best running backs in the SEC, 1 to 10. He wouldn't have had Herschel Walker on it.
Right.
And turns out to be maybe the greatest college football player ever. But he never played. But I get it, again, it's off season.
I'm not mad about it.
No,
it's just a talking point.
Right. Yeah, okay. I get it. If Holman Wiggins has not been an offensive coordinator before, you can't put him number 1.
You can't put him number 1. And look, there isn't a perfect way to do a list like this, right? Because you got to rank them.
But if Mike Bobo's the 3rd best offensive coordinator in the SEC, that in itself right there is an explanation of why the SEC is no longer looked at as the best conference.
Sure. And I'll also go a little bit further. I think Ryan Grubb was number 1. I don't think Alabama had a great year last year. I think he's living on what he did at prior stops, right? So if you're looking at the last 3 years as your basis, would he? I have to look at that list again. But would he be number one on that list?
I don't know. You know, Charlie,
2 years ago, I would have said yes.
You know, Charlie Weiss is kind of the hot name right now as a offensive coordinator. Like I said, okay, the only one of those that stands out to me. You can quote stats all you want and whatever, and a lot of times, that is the key. But I've seen too many places celebrate Mike Bobo's exit.
I don't know the answer to this, but just for conversation's sake, if you're just evaluating playmaking, or not playmaking, excuse me, offensive play calling, you get it incomplete. But if part of the conversation is recruiting, Holman Wiggins was a great recruiter at Alabama, and he's been a great recruiter at Texas A&M. I think that's part of the conversation when you're evaluating college coaches.
Well, if I'm going to say offensive coordinator, I'm just going to
keep it to the offense.
Yeah, because the head coach typically gets the credit, and then I think for recruiting, and then sometimes they'll have the list of who's the best, individual recruiters, and that's a different animal. Sorry about this.
All good.
Our friend Harold Cliver is telling me that they're over the Atlantic listening to TexAgs Live.
What up?
He's a pilot.
Yeah, he was here in studio a couple months back.
Yeah.
He's on the YouTube chat often. Didn't Holman Wiggins already have co-offense coordinator title? I mean, regardless, let me ask you this question, Obi. What's more important in 2026? Holman Wiggins offensive coordinator show, play calling, development, yada, 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 or the quarterback taking a step forward, Marcel Reed taking his game up a notch? What is more important in 2026?
Well, I think it's, but I'm going to say Marcel because actually the on the field performance, but they kind of go hand in hand.
They do.
I believe.
They do.
Yeah.
Kaylee, were you able to do any of that research?
I'm working on that.
Oh, you're still working on it. Is anybody a first year at OC so far?
Holman Wiggins is the only first-time OC on this list.
Well, then if I'm Joe Sloan from Kentucky, I'm really pissed off because I'm last.
Yeah.
and which may be deserved, but
by the way, I think Kendall Browse is excellent. I do, but didn't he have a couple down years in between?
I think he was.
I think he's going to be great with Lenore Sellers.
I think when he was in Arkansas, he was somewhat considered a disappointment. Of course, I have a camera blocking my view, so after Charlie Weiss, I don't know who 6, 7, and 8 are.
Kyle Flood, AJ, Milwee, Kendall Briers, Joey Hazel. Number 9, Philip Montgomery.
There's a bunch of household names there.
Yeah. Hey, look, how about we phrase the question like this? Come November, will Holman Wiggins be 15 if Athlon Steve redoes this ranking?
Yeah, I don't know, obviously, but I would suspect no, because I do think, again, a lot depends on the offensive line, as we talked about yesterday, but I do think that A&M defense, that A&M offense has, I don't even want to say the chance, that will be as explosive as it was last year.
Yeah.
Again, that's on the caveat that the offensive line is adequate, competent. But I still look around and I see a lot of explosive players on that offense.
Yeah.
Reuben Owens played most of the season at running back.
Yeah.
As the starting running back, and had some long runs. If we've seen, he's got to get better, but I expect it to be in. Yeah, you don't have the Casey Concepcion, and that's a huge factor, but you still have Mario Craver and Ashton Bethel Roman, who put up the vast majority of his yardage last year was in the second half of the season. So here's a guy that's coming on. Bussy, I think, will get better every year. And then, of course, Isaiah Horton is he's not as explosive as KC, but he can be better in some ways than KC was.
All right, here's a question for the audience, for Nick, for Olin, for Kaylee. All right. Would you rather have an elite play caller or an elite developer / teacher?
Boy, that's good. Probably,
I got my answer.
you know, I might have to actually say play caller.
Okay.
Because of, like, when you think about Lane Kiffin, what do you think about?
Development of quarterbacks.
I think about his play calling.
That too.
I can remember the one in
Sometimes
when he was at
renegade.
When he was at Alabama, and he just looked at the matchup, and as soon as the ball was snapped, he threw his his clipboard in the air because he knew it was a touchdown.
He knew it was a touchdown. Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking elite, but now I wouldn't take an elite play caller who's just a disaster when it comes.
Let's say the other one is good, not great. All right, elite and good.
Yeah, the play caller.
See, I'm going to take the elite developer teacher, and here's my why.
Okay.
Because you have a head coach that can overrule your play calling in certain situations, hopefully.
Yeah, but Jimbo's not here anymore.
No, but Coach Elko will be like, nah, we're not doing that. We're gonna run the ball.
I think Coach Elko must give his offensive coordinator a lot of leash.
Yeah.
I think maybe reason I say that is I thought Colin Klein did an excellent job. But some of the calls,
there was at least three last year.
What are you thinking?
What are we doing here, guy?
Yeah, I can think of three right now.
Yeah.
One against Auburn, one against Texas, and what was the other one I was thinking?
Was it Miami?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, there was some strange calls sometimes. But, South Carolina. There at the end.
Yeah.
South Carolina, Auburn on 3rd and 1 at the 21 when a field goal puts it down, knocks it down. And I want to call a pass that's going to have every kind of moving part in it. And then the one against Texas might have been a check down. But I'm talking about when it was like, what was it, 3rd and 2?
Yeah.
And they throw a deep fade. That might have been a check down, to be fair.
Well, I'm going to allow Nick and Kayla to answer this, but I got to tell the people the information about this show.
Okay. Yes,
this particular episode, this show that we're doing right now is called TexAgs Live, and this is presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we are where?
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yeah, and this is the Go Hour.
The Go Hour is brought to you by the warehouse at CC Creations.
And typically we sit over there. We call that the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is to call us on the what?
Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
That number, 979-693-1150. Or you can text us on the
Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line.
979-693-1150. Now we go around the room. We go left to right. We go behind the glass. Nick Savage, would you like to answer the question? And would you also like to give us some more information?
I'd just like to answer the question. I will go elite play caller for all the reasons that OB said. And also, like, I feel like the staffs now for these teams are so large. They have so many analysts and so many guys that work with position groups. Like, you could supplement the developmental side further down the line, right? And some of the analysts and assistants and whatnot. So I'm going to go elite play caller on that just for the reasons that OB said.
Okay. Kaylee Dreyer at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. I know you love football, so what would you say?
Well, I was going to say the same thing, same as OB, but also Nick, because I feel like with so many coaches, you can easily get developed. And in the SEC, obviously best conference. And so I feel like it's easier. It would work better to have a great play caller versus a developer. But I will say Randy in the YouTube chat said developer. And he said when it comes down to it, the players are the ones who make the plays in the game.
Yep. Scheme does matter.
Kaylee's favorite offensive coordinator is Nick Caley, right?
It is, actually.
Why is that?
Because the Texans.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't their offense kind of stink, though?
His last name's Caley.
And apparently...
No, they're awesome, and they're going to be great this year.
He and Deshaun are on the same page, according to D'Amico.
Okay.
Excuse me, not Deshaun, sorry, CJ. I'm stuck in 2017. What? My goodness. Yeah, sorry. What do they call it? I'm having a senior moment, OB.
Yeah, I have them all the time. This is my life now is a senior moment.
Let me tell you why you're all wrong. What year are we in?
2026.
What is happening right now? What is like we had the Renaissance era, we had the internet explosion. What are we in right now?
The Love Island era.
The AI era.
Oh, close enough.
ChatGPT, what should I do on this play? Bam. You need the developer to get the guys at the same level.
Now, I think if I have a guy that is really great at calling the play, again, I'm thinking my guys are competent, that he knows the right play to call, and as long as your guys are competent, you're always finding the weakness in the. I don't think AI is going to be able to always find the weakness in the game and in the defense as the game progresses.
I think at some point it will. Maybe not yet. Not yet. I think at some point you'll be able to, because they're going to use it for war. They are using it for war. Like, you're going to input information real time, and it's going to evaluate what the left tackle is doing and what the defensive end is doing, and come up with strategies for you.
So you're waiting for the AI is going to say, okay, it's time to go to the bomb.
The Hail Mary. Anywho, let's go back to.
Well, until then, I will take the elite play caller.
How do we know you're even here? You might be an AI version of Olin Buchanan.
Yeah, my intelligence is absolutely artificial.
A Tupac hologram of OB.
Oh, right behind us while we do the show. There he is. Hey.
By the way, I think Dryer over there. I think she disproved the whole stereotype of blondes by making very intelligent, astute points.
The very smart, but grumpy this morning, Kaylee Dryer.
She's kind of grumpy.
She was like mad at Nick, yelled at him when she walked in. It was interesting.
I don't yell. I'm very happy this morning.
Yeah, you are.
What's up? Josh Pate put out his best guess at AP preseason top 25 poll, and the Aggies are at number 8. Would you like me to read who is above them?
Yeah. Would you put them at 8 right now?
No.
Me neither. Where would you put them?
15.
I was going to say 13.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're about the same. Just because, like, if Athlon Steve's allowed to have questions about Holman Wiggins, we're allowed to. But I don't think that's where they finish. Well, nobody finishes typically where they start. But I do think all they have to do is a couple little things, and I'll believe that they are top 8.
I'm going to say it again. I say it all the time. Let me see with my own eyes that offensive line, and if that offensive line turns out to be really good, then yeah, 8 or higher.
Who would buy a T-shirt with Olin's face and big eyes, and it says, "Let me see with my own eyes"?
My own eyes.
If we did that at CC Creations, would people buy it?
No.
We had a meeting yesterday about shirts we could do. I bet you there's at least 9 people in the retirement community that would buy that shirt.
I have to put on my reading glasses for it.
See, he's not AI. All right, sorry, continue on.
I was going to just read the teams that are above A&M, starting with number 1, Texas, number 2, Notre Dame, Indiana at 3, Oregon at 4, Ohio State 5, Miami 6, and Georgia 7.
Texas might be, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I get told that about Texas every year.
Every year.
Right? And I know they had an elite ranking-wise transfer portal haul, right? I understand that. And they already had a lot of talent. I get that. I feel like Sark has had a lot of talent many years, and they have a very difficult schedule. Okay. I think Indiana deserves, I shouldn't say deserves more respect. They were number 3, right? Yeah. But I know that they have a lot of changes, and at quarterback. So, okay.
I'll take Ohio State today.
Do you think Ohio State goes to Austin and wins?
Yeah. When they talk about Texas, and Texas is going to be really good, but they talk about Arch, and they talk about the running back that came in and adding Cam Coleman with Ryan Wingo.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, they have offensive line questions. And outside of Colin Simmons, I'm not sure who on the defense you go, okay, I know they got a guy in from Pitt that's going to be in the transfer portal, supposed to be really good. But all last year I heard about that great Texas secondary. And they lost like 3 or 4 guys out of there. So I question their offensive line. It's not going to be incompetent, but to be number 1, I'm talking about, is there 1 or 2 games that they could lose? 3? Yeah. That defense has something to prove, I think.
How many did you give us?
I gave you the top 8.
Okay. Those in front of A&M.
Yeah.
So give me 9 and 10.
9 is Ole Miss, 10 is LSU, and then 11 is Alabama.
Okay. All right.
And then he also has Texas Tech at 12.
Ole Miss ahead of LSU. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. But I don't know.
Lane Kiffin's really a good play caller.
And he gets the most out of quarterbacks. Like,
He does.
if Sam Levitt is healthy, he'll probably have a great year. Like a great year. Although, Austin Simmons, before he got hurt last year, didn't look that great.
No, but Trinidad Chambliss
sure did.
They sure worked some
magic with him.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's hit a break here. 1775 weekly specials. Okay, so let's go tomorrow. Are you a brisket Philly kind of guy?
I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I like Philly cheesesteaks. I like brisket, especially at $17.75. You put them together, it sounds like it'd be pretty good.
How about a perfectly smoked half chicken?
Oh, yeah, I like chicken.
Yeah. The only problem with a half chicken is half.
Yeah.
I can do a full.
You know, I
can eat a whole chicken.
I've watched you eat a whole cake.
This is true. Brazos spuds, would you like to try that?
Oh, my wife had that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a huge potato, and it was just stuffed full of that brisket. Oh, it was awesome.
How about smoked barbacoa tacos?
You know, I'm sure my dog Mike went there a couple of weeks ago. He told me, and he was he had that. He said it was amazing. I personally kind of draw the line at barbacoa.
Okay.
You know,
not your thing.
No.
What about raspberry chipotle pork belly burnt ends?
Well, I just like the burnt ends the way they are. But
you're going to add raspberry and chipotle?
If they're doing something to freak it to make it even better, you know, it might be illegal.
Freaky. The website is 1775txbbq.com. You can call them up, 979-492-6241. Let's get freaky with 1775.
Yeah, it's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, Cigar Hour, by the way, Warehouse CC Creations. Do you mind if a little moment to do a little personal shout out?
Do it.
My grandnephew, Sandy Nuno, you met his dad, Adrian Nuno. Yeah. When we were there in Orlando, I got to watch him pitch in a game, and he's the age where Little League, like it's the big deal. He's 12, right? He's in that zone. Anyway, in this championship game to get him to the next level, whatever that level is, I know there's different levels, he pitched a shutout, 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, 3 hits, also got the first RBIs of the game. He had, I think it was a 2-run double to open up the second inning, if I remember correctly. And he had 3 RBIs in the game. And when we posted our photos from Florida, there was a photo of the team celebration, but I didn't get to we got some good pictures of him pitching, and I didn't want him to be upset because I think he saw the post. So shout out to Sandy Nuno, who dominated.
Is his middle name Koufax?
No. His real name is Alessandro, but we call him Sandy. So shout out to Sandy. No, not Alomar. Which contender, OB, has the widest range of outcomes, okay? So I'm thinking of about a +2, a -2. And you can talk about Texas A&M. Okay. And I'm basing this on last year's record, okay? So A&M goes 11-2.
Okay.
Now, a +2, I'm not saying 13-0, but I'm saying a couple of more wins on your season. Hopefully an SEC championship win, a playoff win, or more, right? Mm-hmm. A -2, obviously, would put them at 9 wins. I think that's both of those scenarios I could absolutely see. Okay? I'm going to give you some other ones. And just think about it. LSU. Okay? I can absolutely see a +2. I don't know if I can see a -2, but I can see a +2.
Yeah, I don't see a -2. I see a +2. Yeah. I don't know if I think that's the widest. Because I'm not ready to buy in that LSU is going to be this national championship contender. But I can see them winning 9 games.
Nick, can you put last year's standings up for us so I can just see what the records are? Because I don't have my laptop because I'm an idiot. All right, Florida. Yeah, Florida. They weren't very good last year.
No. Well, they finished like 5-7.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good this year. But they're not going to do worse, right? Like, I don't think they're going to win 4 games. I don't think. Could they? Was it 5 wins that Florida had last year?
I thought you said contender.
But their schedule's a lot easier this year.
Okay. So they're not going to win 2, okay? Because I'm doing a ± of 2. I could absolutely see them getting 6, 7 wins. Hey, now.
Okay.
Texas,
as much as it pains for me to say this, I think they have.
They're in the +2 range?
They went from, +2 and more. So,
but could you see a -2 with that schedule?
7-5, no. No. I would love to.
Let's just think about it, because last year they were a couple plays away from it.
They were.
Not the A&M game. They had a lot more plays than we did. But
yeah, they were. They should have lost Kentucky, should have lost
Mississippi State.
But
this year's schedule's harder, I think.
I don't see them losing. I think in a worst case scenario, they're probably 8-4.
Can you give me Texas's schedule? I'm making Nick work a lot this morning. I apologize. Because I agree with you, by the way. I think this team's going to win 11 games. But could you see them losing at Tennessee? Probably not today.
No.
Could they lose to Oklahoma?
Could. A rival game, you never take anything for granted.
Okay. And obviously, this is in a world where they lose to Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Florida, they lost to them last year. I don't think 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Could they lose to Ole Miss? Absolutely. Okay. There's the 3. I don't think they're going to lose to Missouri.
I don't think so, but Missouri's not an easy out.
Going to Baton Rouge? Yeah, they can lose that.
Yeah, it's always hard to. You can always.
And at Texas A&M. It's unlikely, but the schedule is difficult enough that if things went south at some point, you could see that happening. I mean, just like I could see it happening for A&M. This is not, and I'm not predicting that for A&M or Texas or for Georgia. But if things go south early, with the way that both of their schedules kind of come down, just saying.
I have to say that I see in an absolute worst case scenario, Texas, they go 8-4.
Okay.
And I would love to see it. And I think, they're going to be championship contenders. I don't think they're going to be the best team in the country, but I think they're going to be a team that's going to be in the playoff and may make a nice run. And so I could see them winning 3 games, maybe even, 4 games more than they did last year.
What's the worst case scenario for A&M?
Absolute worst case.
7-5?
7-5, I'd say. I think I said that yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that'd be the absolute worst case scenario. And that's in the situation where your offensive line did an LSU last year, and it just was such a liability that you couldn't make up for it.
Show me the standings again. I know South Carolina was terrible last year, but they are definitely in the +2 category, in my opinion.
Oh, well, they're your answer.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they're not going to lose 2 more, but they're definitely
going to be in the playoff.
Well, that's right.
Beamer already told us.
Beamer did tell us that. I don't think they're going to lose 2 more, but they're going to be better than 4-8. They were better than their record. They're not better than their record because they lost. But that being said,
I think they're about what they were because, we look at people look at their game against A&M and say, oh, yeah, see, they're better than that. A lot of what happened against A&M was just A&M screwing up. And then when A&M just tightened things up in the second half, I thought they were too far behind to come back. A&M had an avalanche and buried them. And quite frankly, if it wasn't for some bizarre decision, A&M's win would have even been, even more significant.
Let me give you one more team to think about. A +2, -2. Ole Miss.
Yeah, I could see.
I don't think Ole Miss is winning a national championship.
I believe Ole Miss is more likely to lose 2 more games than they are to win 2 more.
I agree.
Of course, duh. Well, they win like 12, 13 last year.
Yeah, they would have to win a national championship.
Yeah, way to climb out on a limb there.
Okay,
right?
So would you say the same thing about A&M? A&M is more likely to lose 2 more than to win 2 more, or no? You're not there yet, or at all.
More likely to lose 2 more than win 2 more. Again, until I see the O-line. But if you lose 2 more, you went 9-3.
Yeah.
If you win 2 more, we're talking about at least 13 wins.
Right. Yeah. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with more. Right now, we're talking Rollo Insurance. You get a personal agent's direct phone number. You get to call them. They can call you. You can talk about Aggie football. You can talk about whatever you want. I have Morgan there who takes care of me. They are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live. The difference is real. 60 offices in Texas, but as you know, their headquarters is right here in College Station on Highway 6. Whether it's home, auto, business, or ranch, start a relationship with an expert who puts you first. Your agent becomes familiar with your specific situation, and they know you by name, and they know your entire lifestyle. It's the Rollo difference. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO.
I'm Wes Mangan, and I live on a piece of property with my wife and 2 boys and several animals. I work in oil and gas, and I travel a lot, and so when I come home, it's like my sanctuary. I get to see Lauren and the boys, and it's been just a perfect fit for us, and it's really improved our family time. And this is the first land I'd ever purchased, so dealing with the land side of things and dealing with Capital Farm Credit was super easy for us through the whole process. I definitely feel like with Capital Farm Credit, together we are better.
At Brazos Valley Floor and Design, the Morrow family has helped Bryan College Station homeowners remodel with confidence for over 25 years, backed by the Adore Your Floor guarantee.
When you're ready to update a kitchen, refresh a living room, or renovate the whole house, come see the latest in flooring, from designer carpet to laminate, luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, and tile.
We're 2 generations, hands-on from design to installation.
Brazos Valley Floor and Design, best floor and design since 1999.
And that's a promise.
All right, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner, Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, so CBS Sports has who had the best year in major college sports. Okay. Cody Nagel is the gentleman who wrote this.
Okay.
And A&M's place in it was very nice. They came in fourth. That's pretty good company, right? I mean, if you consider two national championships to be a big deal, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I do consider it to be a big deal. But obviously one of the better athletic calendar years for A&M and for anybody. The formula, I kind of wrote out some notes here. They built a model around 6 sports that drive the biggest television audiences and fan interest. So women's tennis didn't factor into this. Okay. They use football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. Obviously, women's basketball didn't have the kind of year they expected, but softball ended early. Volleyball national championship. Men's basketball, I think, had a really good year based on what the expectations were. Football was excellent. And then each sport received a score using a formula: 30% regular season winning percentage, 70% postseason success. So that all played a role in it. And A&M finished
70% postseason success. Okay.
A&M finished fourth. If you can look up the list, Texas finished first, by the way.
Yeah.
They had a good year, obviously.
One softball, right? Did get to the playoff in football, but they made a nice run, surprising run in basketball.
Yeah. And baseball, they went to the College World Series. Yep.
And women's basketball. Did they play for the national championship?
Why don't I remember?
They got to the Final Four, did they not?
Yeah.
Maybe they lost to UCLA in the semis.
Yeah, UCLA and South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, so they lost to UCLA in the semis.
So anyway, they had a good year, and as they should, as A&M should, by the way. A&M should be in the top 5.
A&M should be good in everything.
Every year. How do we get the number 4 to number 3 to number 2 to number 1? And I think it goes down. You got to win a game or two in the football playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great to get to the second weekend in the NCAA tournament, men's tournament. It'd be great to get the women in there. And look, I'm not asking for volleyball to win another national championship.
I'm asking for it.
Okay. I'm not asking. I'm like indirectly asking. It'd be great if they did.
It sounds like, the way Stowers was talking yesterday, they should be.
They'd be pretty good.
Really, really good.
Do you have that rankings?
Yes.
Who are in the top 5?
So Texas at 1, Alabama at 2, Michigan at 3, A&M at 4, and Nebraska at 5.
Huh. I wouldn't have thought of Nebraska.
They have the scores as well. And Texas at number 1 has a 66.73 score. And
they were a pretty big lead.
Yeah. And then A&M has 49.8.
I know Nebraska had a good basketball season.
Yep.
I think they did well in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I know their volleyball team was good until they ran into the Stowers' Aggies. I don't know what they did in softball. Don't know. I don't know.
I don't think they know.
I didn't keep up with Nebraska.
Yeah. I mean, they must have had a very good year, obviously, in all these sports. But the SEC placed 8 schools in the top 15, Dreyer. Who was the last SEC team listed on there? I would assume it's number 15.
Kentucky.
I wouldn't have thought of Kentucky.
I wouldn't have either.
Florida is at 27.
Okay. And Florida had a down football year. So that's, a really down football year.
So did Kentucky.
Yeah, this is true. But
we
got used to that. Stoops had a good run.
He had a nice run.
The last SEC team is Auburn at 60.
That's surprising to me. Not just last year, it is what it is. I mean, basketball did not reach the potential that they expected. Didn't they win the NIT? They won the NIT, right?
I guess.
Yeah, they won the NIT. Yes. I don't know how that plays into your postseason success.
I'm shocked at that because Luke Evangelist, I remember when we were in Birmingham for SEC Media Days, Luke was telling me how great Auburn was going to be in basketball. I like to give Luke a hard time just because he's Luke.
Has A&M become one of the nation's elite athletic programs perception-wise outside of Texas?
I think if you're in the business of college sports,
you
probably get it. If you're a a fan, you probably don't get it yet. Because you got to, win championships to get people's attention a lot of times.
Yeah.
If you're here, you live it, so they're having a good year. But it's the way I was talking about Nebraska. You're saying, well, yeah, I know they were good in this, but I don't know what.
But in this new social media, it's not even new, the social media age that we're in, I think we read and we feel more the negativity, right? Like I think that it's louder, I believe. Football team went 11-2, and you should be mad in the 48 hours after a loss, after your season ended. I get that. But like sometimes I think people don't realize it was a special season. Baseball was a good season. Obviously, we want more from our baseball team. I'm not saying that just hosting a regional and then losing is acceptable, but considering where things have been and what this calendar year felt like, you got 2 national champions on campus this year. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've got 4 national champions in the last 4 years?
Yeah. So what if the recently graduated Christian and Cruz had come home with a big test and they got B minuses?
Well, let's evaluate that. What resources did they take advantage of? Did they go to tutoring? There's a lot of questions that go into it.
They have all the resources, just like A&M.
Okay, then I'd be disappointed.
There you go. I think A&M had a B minus isn't bad. It's good. I think A&M had a really good year, but
if you do but that's not a fair comparison though, because one is the grade that you accumulate. Like my boys did not get a scholarship to A&M. Okay, and I am disappointed they did not. Trust me. Top 10%. Like I don't know what we did wrong. Okay, whoever's listening in the scholarship community, holler at your boy. I don't know what we did wrong. Top 10% athletic. We just failed at our. So I'm disappointed about that. But I wasn't disappointed with their effort, with their work. So I think that's a different kind of conversation piece. But I know what you mean.
I think that A&M had a good year, but the bottom line is the football team got into the playoff and lost. The basketball team, ran into it by getting in was remarkable. If you're looking at it from a national perspective, yes, but you got one win. Baseball host and lost
in the regional.
Volleyball did great. Softball did not. I mean, they got in. So, and women's basketball didn't even get in. So at least in my opinion, A&M in most of those sports did what you're supposed to do. Baseball's supposed to be in the playoffs. It's Texas A&M baseball. Look at all the advantages you have. Now, it's harder in football, but I think you should expect, especially with what you got now. I'm saying even before Elko got here, A&M has the resources and advantages, but you should expect to be playing among the best in the country.
Yeah.
So I think you actually got to start winning. I think the next thing in basketball is, hopefully they just keep making progress. But when is A&M going to get past the Sweet 16 round? I know that's putting a lot on Bucky right now. I mean, I can't put that on him, but they've never done it, ever. So I'm just saying that, good season.
Good, not great.
Maybe even better than B minus. Maybe it's B, solid B. Does that make you feel any better about your sons if it's a solid B?
Every time I have to pay that bill at A&M, I'm going to not feel happy about it.
Yeah, I understand that. I can relate.
I think it's more my fault than it is their fault. I must have, even, there's a conversation we can have off air. Well, there's something we didn't do right in our application process.
That's not true.
Because, there's some kids that I know that got it, and I'm like, what did we do wrong? Better grades. Not that better looking counts, but better looking. Anyway, we'll hit a break. When we do our heritage film on grades, we can talk about, were you a good student?
No. I was good in the classes that I liked.
Okay, that's how I was. I was a good student, but it was like a fake good student, right? Like I didn't apply myself. And then I got to college and I'm like, oh, you're supposed to work? Because I didn't have the work ethic I have now. I didn't have it.
Well, when I was, in the dark ages, when I was in school in the state of Texas, you only had to take 2 years of mathematics, any kind. So I took Introduction to Algebra 1 and 2 and said, I'm done with it.
You're done with it.
And then I took my 2 years of sciences. I was done with them.
So when I was coming up, this is a Heritage Film spot, believe it or not. A lot of people didn't do the AP classes, right? My kids are going into college with like 26 hours or 27 hours, like already because of AP classes. And I didn't have to do that. This has nothing to do with Heritage Films. But if we told your story about Olin Buchanan growing up and the man that you've become, the columnist, all the foundation was started when you were a youth.
Beating the odds.
Beating the odds
for
in East Texas.
Years, yeah.
Let's bottle those moments, all the stories we've learned by going to yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341. It's Heritage Films. Hey friends, David Nuno here for the Association of Former Students, and have you checked out the latest issue of the Texas Aggie magazine? The May through June issue is a special Aggie Spirits issue that includes all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. And the team at the Association of Former Students searched far and wide for Aggie-owned businesses, breweries, wineries across the state, the country, and even the world. That's right, the globe, baby. And as much as could be found has been compiled into the magazine for the Aggie Network. Now, normally, the Texas Aggie magazine is available only to Century Club members. However, this issue is available to everyone. So to read the issue and explore giving to receive future issues, visit tx.ag/Texas Aggie. That is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Again, don't miss the special Aggie Spirits issue of the Texas Aggie to explore all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. It is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Check it out. Got a laptop.
Yeah, I saw you. I can't tell which son is which, but I saw one of your twin boys come in.
Christian. Yeah, Christian came in.
That was my thought too, David. I was like, which one is that?
Yeah, I could tell he hasn't been awake very long. He kind of mumbled to us when he was speaking. So, but thank you, Christian, for bringing me my laptop. Let's close up the segment. Maybe we got some text messages. I don't know. I haven't been on my laptop. Maybe we got a YouTube comment or two. Kaylee Dreyer at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Jeremy Dunk in the YouTube chat.
Jeremy Dunk?
Yes.
Okay.
That is his username.
Is he new?
Is
that a full sentence?
Jeremy Dunk. Real name
sentence.
or like basketball name?
I don't know.
I don't think he did. I was just talking.
Anyways, he said Holman Wiggins will have the Aggies as a top 15, top 10 offense because I think he's going to have us air the ball out more while getting Ruben Owens and Morrow keeping the defense expecting the run.
Hope so.
You know what I like? I was talking to Holman a few months ago, and he said he wants to use Marcel more in the running game.
Yep.
And I'm saying, well, great. It's one of the things that makes him special.
Yeah, but also selective.
He also said he likes to be a running game based offense.
Ground and pound.
I'm just saying that he was just saying that if you think because I was a receivers coach, so we're going to be throwing it around all the time, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah. Let's get one more comment in, Dreyer, as you've tried to find one quickly.
We don't have any more comments.
Nobody said anything else.
I do have one thing.
Okay.
Earlier, Obi had mentioned that he would pick Ohio State today. And I did want to say that in the EA sports ratings, the highest rated player is Jeremiah Smith, the running back from Ohio State with a 99.
Wide receiver from yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I think everybody's on everybody's nerves today. I'm not on your nerves.
I'm fine.
I think Dreyer just hates everybody today. What's up with that?
I love everybody.
I love you being here. I mean, come on. Thank you, Obi.
Yep.
When we come back, Juan Haris on TexAgs Live. Thanks for your comment, Audrey. You're probably right, but guess what? I do what I do. It's TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. I think we're going to have to call John Harris here in a moment. And we go back to Kaylee Dreyer. Miss Dreyer.
Casey did respond to that and say you should use your platform to bring home Josh Dobson.
All right, Casey. I can do that for Casey. I got you. Anyway, I don't know what the latest is with that. I will ask Jason Howell. That's later on today, I believe we find out.
Yes.
I'll certainly, I don't know if we're leading with that with Mr. Howell, but I'll ask him about it.
So I do have a quick note. Texas A&M had 8 student athletes on Dave Campbell's Texas football's preseason all-Texas team. I don't know if you saw that, but it did come out yesterday. Mario Craver, Wilkin Formby, Ray Coney, and Marcus Ratcliffe were on the first team, and Mark Naboo, Ruben Owens, Ricky Gibson, and Anto Sacco were named to the second team.
So read that again. Okay, I want to make sure I understand this. Okay, so this is Dave Campbell's.
Yes. Texas football's preseason all-Texas team.
All-Texas team.
So,
all right. I'm going to have you read that. I want to get John Harris's thoughts on it. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our buddy is John Harris, and he joins us here. Houston Texans sideline reporter and footballtakeover.com founder. What's up, Johnny?
What's going on, David? How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a couple of weeks. Happy to get you back on the show. You doing all right?
Yeah, doing okay, man. Getting now that we're into July, it's training camp month. So, we're starting to ready. Well, we got one more World Cup match to deal with at the stadium. I say deal with. I mean, it's been fantastic. It's made work life kind of tough because of all the craziness. So I've avoided Houston Stadium throughout all these match days. And then we got one more on Sunday, I think it is. And then we'll be back, and everybody will be back probably a week or so after that to get ready for training camp. Rookies report on the 21st. So we're getting there, man. It's going to be hopefully a fun time and lots to talk about between now and then. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. Had a little vacay. Happy to be back. Actually, not so happy to be back, but I'm happy to be getting closer to real football talk, which makes the show that much better. I'm going to have Kaylee Dreyer at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center read you a little bit from Dave Campbell's football, where they've got. I'll just let you take it. You got the story.
Dave Campbell released his preseason all-Texas team list, and the Aggies had 8 student athletes on that. Mario Craver, Wilkin Formby, Ray Coney, and Marcus Ratcliffe on the first team, and Mark Naboo, Ruben Owens, Ricky Gibson, and Anto Sacco named to the second team.
Johnny, just your reaction to that. I was expecting to hear Marcel's name in one of those, but I guess, there's other Texas quarterbacks that are getting higher rankings. Just your thoughts on what you've heard.
Well, I'm trying to think. I guess they probably made Arch number 1 on the first team is my guess. And as I rack my brain going through other teams, I'm trying to think who had been that second quarterback. And we're talking, Texas football and the state of Texas football. I'm trying to think who they would have had as the second team quarterback that wasn't Marcel Reed. I guess maybe Kevin Jennings they're going with from SMU is probably my guess, but I'm not totally sure. But look, I think this is where Aggies and Texans are kind of in a very similar situation with their quarterbacks. I think both Marcel Reed and C.J. Stroud did a lot of really good things throughout the season of 2025. But I think the way that it finished, now obviously the Texas game was still regular season, but it was like a playoff game, and then the playoff game itself. I think people look at those two that are not quite, diehard supporters of either organization or program, the Aggies or the Texans, and they look at those two games and go, well, that's what that guy was in 2025, and I think that's really far from the truth. And I think for CJ, it was seen by everybody. I mean, and I think for Marcel, the same thing. When people watched, maybe watched A&M for the first time in the playoff game, and they saw A&M score 7 points against Miami, and wait a second. Louisville scored 34. Well, this guy quarterback they're talking about, boy, he's not good. he's not good at all. And I think that in 2026, both Marcel and CJ, they've got a lot to prove to those people. But I think when you take everything in totality, I feel like both of them had really good years as quarterbacks, as leaders, making plays in big games when they needed to, but they didn't finish well. And because they didn't finish well, that has left us a stain going into 2026. But if I know both of them like I think I do, I think that actually is not a bad thing. I think they are motivated, maybe not by outside noise, but just motivated to play better and play better in bigger situations. And both of them will get those opportunities during the season. But you know how this thing goes. There will be people that follow the narrative of, well, just call me when the playoffs hit. Just let me know when the SEC championship game comes around, and then I'll be able to tell you what kind of quarterback Marcel Reed is. I think that's where actually a lot of people will be. And it gives people in this business of ours the opportunity to just say, well, yeah, the last of what I saw him, but we see it so many times. The other way, guy hasn't been good, but he has a playoff game that's great. It's like, man, let's get excited about the next year. And it's like, why? The guy was good for one game. We need to see him good for an extended period of time. I think both Marcel and CJ were good for an extended period of time, but those final games just left everybody wanting so much more, and it left people that hadn't seen them all year, allowed them to form an opinion that probably isn't correct and hopefully will be proven wrong in 2026. Look, quarterback rankings have been coming out for the NFL, for 2026. I think Chris Sims put C.J. Stroud at like 20. I mean, are there 19 teams that would say, yeah, I'll take my guy over C.J. Stroud? I don't know about that. And I know there are a lot of colleges saying, dude, I'll take Marcel Reed tomorrow. So from that standpoint, okay, that's fine. Think about Michael Jordan. You gave Karl Malone the MVP. That motivated me. All right, well, maybe that's the way, and I think that's the way Marcel Reed and C.J. Stroud are wired. Not for awards, but to prove himself right, that he knows what he's doing, that he's a great quarterback, and that he can lead the A&M program further than it's ever gone in the history of the program. And I think that C.J. Stroud is willing to do that and going to do that for the Texans as well. So I feel like both of them are just kind of lying in wait, ready to pounce when an opportunity comes up, and then everybody will be back on a bandwagon, David. You know it. You know how it goes. Oh, yeah, he was always my guy. He's always my guy. Hey, well, there are these things called receipts, and we'll all find them once these two guys start shining the way we think they can.
Talking to John Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, who was it? The NFL, Todd McShay, right? Who was talking about Marcel throwing the ball beautifully at the Manning Passing Academy. Not that one isolated throw or a weekend tells you anything, but the fact that Todd, who can be critical of people, really pointed out how good those throws look. What does that maybe tell you about this upcoming year?
Well, I don't, and especially that individual, I don't put a lot of stock in him or that. But I do feel like it takes one to make some noise. And, I feel like if at least somebody's seeing something, it at least alerts others to say, well, wait a second. Let me take a look. It doesn't take long to just, pull up highlights and just take a look at those just to at least whet your appetite until you can go find your film and then watch in full. So from that standpoint, it's good, but there's always been some kind of backlash against McShay. I know people in that community that have had some dealings with him on a few different levels. So who knows? But I don't put a ton of stock because it's him, and I don't put a ton of stock in it because I saw every one of Marcel's games last year. But what I do think it can show is well, hey, wait a second. And this can still happen. I think people forget this a lot of times. Like, a guy can improve. He can get stronger. He can get bigger. You know, those things can happen in an off season. And when you haven't seen them since January, I mean, obviously spring practice, but when you haven't seen a guy since January, like, oh, man, he looks bigger. Boy, he looks stronger. Boy, the ball looks like it's hopping out of his hands. Like, those things can kind of grab people's attention a little bit. And I'm glad that it did, but I just don't always trust it from particular individuals. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I need to see it with my own eyes, but I kind of want to see it with my own eyes. But I also believe it, because I do think that Marcel is that kind of guy that each year, you know, the whole concept of 1% better, you know, he's going to want to master. He's going to want to be 1% better every day. He wants to be 20% better than he was last year at a minimum. So it doesn't surprise me from that standpoint. But, I mean, I've heard so many things come from the Manning Passing Academy. Oh, yeah, this guy looks just great. This guy's going to set the world on fire. And then you look up and a guy's like struggling halfway through the year, and you're like, well, wait a second. I thought you guys were touting him as the next Manning when he was at the Manning Passing Academy. So I think it's fun to talk about because it's football adjacent to talk about. But to see him throw the ball, like I said this after the Miami game, I thought there were throws that he was being criticized on that weren't his fault. Now, he didn't have the game of games, but it was a situation where he could have played better, but he didn't have as bad a game as everybody wanted to put on him. So from that standpoint, I think there will be some of that, not backlash, but some of that, you know, he wasn't as bad as I thought he was, you know, that kind of thing. Especially once you just go watch the film and you realize, hey, there's something still there with this guy. So, you know what? Let him fall into the narrative trap and then just go out there and ball out. And I think Marcel in his third year as a starter is going to do that.
Talking with John Harris here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Johnny, where are you with, and again, I'm going to rankings, but not that I care about the ranking per se, just more of a conversation piece. Athlon Steve had Holman Wiggins as his number 15 offensive coordinator in the SEC. There's not a body of work, so I understand the incomplete grade, in my opinion, of where he is. But when you have a guy that's never called plays before, not been the OC, but has been a riser in college football his entire time as a coach, how do you kind of evaluate here in July before we have any data points?
You don't, or you shouldn't. You know, you should get to those guys and say, now, if, you know, years ago when A&M had Noel Mazzoni, he was offensive coordinator. I mean, I think he was on his like fourth or fifth stop. So, I mean, I think you could look at his career in totality and kind of have an assessment. But when a guy hasn't called a play at all, he's never served one day as an offensive coordinator, I don't think, you know, evaluation is stupid. And it was kind of like I said this about Arch Manning going into last year. I wouldn't evaluate him because for the 2026 NFL draft because A, I didn't believe he was going to come out, and B, he had 94 throws, and the majority of those throws were against the three worst teams Texas played. So what am I going to gain in looking at that in some sense? Yeah, I mean, I could, you know, gun to my head, I could give you an assessment of Arch Manning, but it just made no sense. And I think it's the same kind of thing here. I mean, with Holman, you never know. And I think there's always this tendency when you're talking about a play caller in particular. Well, you know, he was this guy's running backs coach. He was this guy's offensive line coach. So this is what he's going to be as an offensive coordinator. And it's like, no, every guy is going to be different. Now, he might have a similar system, but the play, how fast they do things, the focus, leaning one way, run pass, it's all going to be different. And when you try and evaluate it just to make a list, you're kind of dumb. Even sometimes with first-year offenders, I think when a guy going into his second year, you kind of have a little bit of an idea, but you still don't know everything. You know, Cliff Kingsbury, the first year he's somewhere, everybody thinks he's God's gift to football. But then somewhere during the second year, everybody's like, whoa, wait a second. this might not work. I mean, it happened with the Cardinals. It happened with the Commanders. Hell, it happened at Texas Tech. Same kind of thing. He'd start a year off great. Halfway through the year, everybody figured him out. Okay, well, how good an offensive coordinator is Cliff Kingsbury? It's kind of like Nick Caley here in Houston. Nick Caley's getting raked over the coals, but it's the first time the guy ever called plays. But, he's got a really stout history with really good offensive schemes. So, maybe some of the things that didn't work for him in year one because of injury, lost Joe Mixon all year, maybe those things turn around in year two because the personnel's a little bit better. He's more comfortable in that role. I remember my first year calling plays way back when I sucked. I remember sitting down watching film, self-scouting after the year going, what the hell was I doing? My second year, it wasn't great, but I was a whole hell of a lot better. So Holman might run the same exact stuff. Might be everything the exact same. Might be. But how you call it, how you run it, how you execute it, how you emphasize what you want to do out of it, that's completely different. If I'm doing those rankings, I take first-year coordinators and I just say incomplete, not ranking these guys. These are the guys that have called plays before. I will rank those guys. I just think that's kind of foolish because if he's 15, who's 16? Some other guy? Some other first-year guy that's never called plays? And if it's somebody else that has called plays and you're ranking Holman ahead of him, why are you doing that? So I just, sometimes with rankings, I think using some common sense is helpful. Now, as somebody that does rankings, draft rankings, etc., I say that, like, there are times where I'm like, man, I really don't know where I want to rank this guy. It doesn't really matter because for some teams, he'll be ranked high. Some teams he'll be ranked low. Where would I rank him? So I kind of understand, it's your own ranking and you could have your own philosophy for it. But I feel like when it comes to first-year, coordinators in particular, I think it's kind of a foolhardy exercise, if I'm being honest.
John Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, talk to me before I let you go about the situation there with CJ and Nick Caley. I saw something on Pro Football Talk that D'Amico, I guess, spoke to the media and mentioned that their communication is significantly better. What stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I just said, I think the second year of a relationship. And I think when you're going through the first year relationship, any kind of relationship, and you're trying to figure life out together. You think about being married. That first year you're trying to figure out, who sleeps on the left side, who sleeps on the right side, who uses the right sink, who uses the left sink, who gets up early, who makes breakfast. You try to figure all those things out. By the time you get to the second year, third year, fourth year, whatever, you've got some things figured out. Not everything, but at least kind of the basics you've got down, right? And so when you communicate, okay, my wife knows about me. There are probably some things that she doesn't really want to talk about because she knows kind of how I react to it. She knows how to address those things a little bit better. And the same with her. I think the same thing with Nick and CJ. I think that it just will be much better in the second year. Not that it was bad in the first year, but I think that, both of them are just, Nick is a very high energy guy. And sometimes high energy guys, for guys that are not as high energy like CJ, they can kind of be oil and water. So they've got to meet in the middle a little bit. And I think a great example of that was we were getting ready to play the Chargers. I think it was probably a week before getting ready to play the Chargers. And so Caley had a play, and it was a good play. And CJ said to him, hey, Nick, can we take this dig and turn it into a post? And Nick was like, look, we don't ever throw that route. So, yeah, whatever you want, CJ, let's make it a post. Well, lo and behold, we go to the Chargers. They call that play on 3rd and 1, and CJ throws the post to Jaden Higgins wide open for a touchdown. And it was all about Nick Caley saying, not saying, no, you're not going to tell me what to do. Nick was like, yeah, okay, I see the logic in it. Let's do it. We don't ever really throw it. Well, let's do it. Lo and behold, touchdown to kick off the game against the Chargers. And you start thinking, all right, well, maybe that's the kind of relationship they can have. It's one that, and Nick Caley was with the Patriots for a long time. It's one Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady had. Some give and take. Tom, hey, I like this. Okay, let's do this. Hey, Tom, this is why I think we need to do this. Tom's like, all right. And I've talked to Bill O'Brien many times about that relationship between Bill O'Brien and Tom Brady. So that's what you would like to get to. It took years for them to do that. But in your second year, you can have better communication. You can be unafraid of stepping on each other's toes a little bit, but yet being okay at the end of it. And the way the season ended for CJ, I think there's going to have to be a little bit of extra communication and maybe a little bit of, I don't want to say like attaboy kind of stuff, but I think Nick's going to understand CJ a little bit more, and I think CJ is going to understand what Nick is a little bit more. Nick is not just a high-energy guy. He's a very flexible communicator. And I think it's going to help that Jerry Slapinski, who is close friends with Nick Haley, is taking over as the quarterback's coach. And I hate that it happened to Gerard Johnson, but I think Gerard needed to spread his wings and go somewhere else. He had been around CJ since the Elite 11. I think there was just something there that communication wasn't probably the best amongst all of them, but I think hopefully it'll be better. I think Gerard Johnson will go to Philadelphia and do a great job there and be an OC before too long, and hopefully everybody will live happily ever after. But I do think in the first year of a relationship, it can be a little dicey. But once you get that second year, at least the basics will be covered, and then you can move forward with that. And that, hopefully, is what Texans fans, me included, are hanging on, that they can kind of meet in the middle, if you will. Because one thing I do know, there is some stubbornness. There definitely is that. Maybe a little bit more on the quarterback side than the offensive coordinator side. But that's got to be kind of pushed to the side, all working on the same team, going and doing the right things this year.
That is John Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, I appreciate it, brother. Enjoy your 4th of July.
Yeah, you too, brother. Love you, man. Talk to you soon.
Love you, bro. That's Johnny Harris there on the Puppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break, and we'll come back with probably a short segment. That's what I'm assuming. That's just the assumption here. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call. 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Everybody, David Nuno here from TexAgs, here with some of our new friends from Frog Slayer. We've got the CEO, Ross Morrell, and the VP of Revenue, Jacob Stone. Ross, I want to start off with you. Who is Frog Slayer? What do you all do?
Yeah, Frog Slayer is a custom software, AI and automation company. We're based here in College Station. We've got about 50 employees right here, almost all Aggies. We've been doing this since 2005, about 21 years. Really what we do is we partner with business owners of growing businesses. And our goal is to come in, help them actually realize the promise of technology in their company so they can create a company that is worth more than is tomorrow, than is today, and run a better business.
Jacob, I do want to ask you, what's different about Frog Slayer's approach when it comes to AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't just do AI, we do AI right. And so what that means is we embed ourselves inside of our client's team, and we help them plan, build, and ship solutions that they can deploy to a production environment that anyone can use.
All right, Ross, I've got to ask you, why the name Frog Slayer?
Yeah, it's an old riff off Mark Twain quote. So he said, the hardest thing you got to do today is eat a frog. It's best to do it first thing in the morning. So that's kind of our ethos of doing hard things first. And it's also a nice tie into gigging.
Yeah, I love that. Jacob, let's close out. Where can we all find Frog Slayer?
Yes, you can find us online at frogslayer.com.
All right, thank you very much to both of you, Ross and Jacob. Check out Frog Slayer. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. Panel and YouTubers and TexAgers and humans and people who listen from other schools. I want you to answer the question from the second segment of the show. I want you to pick a program that will either, I want both answered, okay? Win 2 more games this year and lose 2 more games this year. Who is your biggest candidate for both? All right? Nick?
I'm going to put up the 2025 standings just to cheat here. Can we... y'all's pick was South Carolina, right? That's who kind of y'all landed on. At least
South Carolina
maybe.
For sure is winning 2 more games. Yeah, I almost feel like they're eliminated by only winning 4.
Yeah.
Right? But
what about LSU? What if everything goes absolutely sideways for them?
They're not going 5-5, bro. Okay, that could be your pick. I don't care. Do it.
Nah, it's not going to be my pick.
I think Ole Miss is the right answer from the top tier of teams.
Good point.
Okay, to lose 2 more games.
That was going to be my answer.
Yep. I think Texas is unfortunately the win 2 more from the top tier, right? Would you be surprised if Oklahoma went 8-4 though? I don't know their schedule. Would you
Not at all.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think I would say Florida.
Here's Oklahoma's
would be my
schedule.
choice to win 2 more games.
Okay, let's just do Oklahoma real quick, then we'll get to Florida. All right, you got at Michigan. That's I think new program at Georgia. Loss. They host Texas. Oh no, sorry, it's the you know what I mean.
Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl. All right. That's possibly 2 to 3 losses in your first 6. Now, could they win at Ann Arbor? Absolutely. So they should have lost last year to Michigan when they had them at home, but they ended up winning that game. So let's just say 3 losses for this conversation here. Second half of the season,
little easier.
Little easier. You host A&M. You go to Missouri. You go to Florida, and I don't care who you are, going to Florida's hard. But yeah, is 8-4 possible for them? Absolutely. Like when my voice goes like that, Pee Wee Hermanish. So they're a candidate. Who was the team you said? Florida?
I said Florida could win 2 more games.
Absolutely.
They revamped their entire coaching staff, but I do think it's better.
Florida and Auburn both could. First half of the season, I don't see them winning at Texas. They host South Carolina, at Missouri. I guess we'll find out who Missouri really is. Now, Florida, that schedule does not, you got Georgia and Texas on there, so I shouldn't say it's not that. And you got Ole Miss.
It's a lot easier than
It's a lot easier than last year.
And last season, they won 4 games in total, 2 SEC games.
Yeah.
So
they're a swing +2.
yes. And their line, I believe, is at 8.5.
But where's Tennessee? Because Tennessee didn't have a good year last year. Okay? I mean, 8-4 is not. Tennessee did not have the year they expected. I don't see them winning. I don't know why I said it like that. I don't see them winning 6, right? I don't see them winning 10. I feel like they're just going to be what they are. I think they're going to be an 8-4 team again.
They also are currently having a QB battle between 2 freshmen. So see how that one plays out.
And then absolutely, South Carolina is going to win at least 2 more games. I think they're going to be a factor this year. Not because Shane Beamer told me, but I think they got a really good quarterback. They got a really good offensive coordinator. They played every team hard. Like when I say it, they should have won. I don't know if you want to say they should have won the A&M game, but you would think being up 31-3, you would win that game.
Yeah.
I think they should have won the Alabama game. So was it an LSU game that they should have won? Put their schedule up. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm making you do a lot of extra work today.
Well, this is this year's schedule. If you want last year, I'll have to go pull that real quick.
Yeah, go look for it while I look at this. At Alabama should be hard. At Florida should be hard. At Oklahoma should be hard. They're a 7-win team. If not 8.
I mean, they got a new offensive coordinator, so I feel like that'll be interesting.
Yeah, Kendall Browse is really good, and I think what he'll be able to do with Lenore Sellers, if you remember what he did with KJ Jefferson.
Here's last year's.
Okay. Last year, so the Vanderbilt was a beatdown. Missouri was a 3-score game almost. LSU was not. I think it was close going late into that game. I believe that is the case. Oklahoma was not close. Alabama was close. Ole Miss, I think, was close in entering late, but it wasn't close. And then it doesn't matter. They didn't have as many close games as I expected. But they did finish winning their last 2. Should have won their last 3. Hate saying that, but they should have won their last 3. You laughing at me?
Yeah, just because I'm remembering that game and it could have changed everything.
It could have changed everything, but it didn't. And here we are still doing the show. We're going to hit a break. We're going to come back with RSJ, Ricky Seals-Jones, catch up with him. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Your trade-in's got value, and at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, they're ready to put that equity to work for you. They have a pre-owned inventory that moves fast, which means they're always looking for quality vehicles to add to their lot, which means they're dealing. They want to hook you up, and you're going to love it. Bring in what you got and let their experienced sales team tell you what you can get for it, and then browse and shop and see what's out there, and hopefully you find your right fit. Remember, it's not a long drive. We're talking 15 minutes. The edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. All right, we are back here on TexAgs Live. I think we may get Ricky to next week. Looked like we were going to get him here, but I think miscommunication. So we'll try to get him here next week on TexAgs Live. All right, so while we're at it, let's check in at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center and figure out how we're going to tap dance for 10 minutes. Go ahead.
John Rothstein just put out his SEC preseason power rankings. I know everyone's mind is in football, but I just wanted to talk about these for a little bit. Florida at number 1.
Not surprising.
Texas at 2. Tennessee at 3. Arkansas 4. Kentucky 5. Vanderbilt 6. Bama 7. Still no A&M. Missouri 8. Texas A&M 9. Georgia 10, Auburn 11, Ole Miss 12, Oklahoma 13, Mississippi State 14, and South Carolina 15. And then he listed LSU as incomplete.
All right. Do you ever, this is going to be a question for Nick and for Kaylee. You guys ever like scroll, and Nick probably doesn't do what like normal people do. Like, do you ever like scroll through Netflix and like.
I don't have a Netflix account.
Okay. Do you have any kind of viewing experience?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
And you know, they do these like, when you go, like, you hover over a movie, it'll give you, like, a little trailer,
Yes.
right?
Little preview, yeah.
A little preview of it. You ever, like, get to a movie and you're like, I don't know who this actor is, I'm out, right? But if it's, who's top 3 or 4 actors in your world?
See, I don't really know
Oh, yeah,
actors.
I forgot. You're not
Tom
normal.
Cruise. Let's just say Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Okay, if you like Tom Cruise, because some people don't like him. If you like Tom Cruise, you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Because you know what his brand is, you know his movie, right? It kind of goes back to the Holman Wiggins conversation. I'm trying to connect the dots here. But with Tom Cruise, you know what you're getting. With Robert De Niro, you used to know what you're getting. It's not the same anymore. But there are certain actors you just know. You know what you're going to get from a Will Ferrell movie. It's probably not going to be a brilliantly written movie, but it's going to be funny, right? Like, you know. In college sports today, we don't know jack. So it goes back to, do you believe in the head coach, right? Which is why, like, we don't know if the offensive line is going to gel, but I believe in Adam Cushing as the offensive line coach. I believe in Mike Elko, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I believe in Bucky because of what I saw last season, but the body of work at a Division I SEC level program is very small, so I can understand why people are hesitating. We don't know these cast of characters. Now, I don't know how good Texas did it in the portal. They must have done really well. So there you go. And they got a really good coach. Sean Miller has done it for a long time. Florida has been a consistent national power for a long time. I understand when you know the brand, and you really know the brand, there's an up-and-coming brand, and then there's the brand, right? And
Texas, according to 247 Sports, had the 4th best transfer portal haul this time around. A&M had the 11th.
Okay. So 4th versus 11th?
Correct.
Again, I think it's, how about this? The types of groceries, I always do the groceries thing. Don't make that face. The types of groceries you buy, I think, matter. What kind of players did Bucky go out and get? He got some guys that could score, and he got some length, right? You add those. For baseball, what has baseball been doing this offseason?
Pitchers.
What do they need?
Pitchers.
Okay. Now, it's going to be really hard to replace your offensive production with 3 guys potentially going in your top 35.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll talk to Joe Doyle about that later. But bottom line is, I'd be interested what John Rothstein said a year ago today. And I know he was high on Bucky. I know he was high. He was one of the, not few, there were actually quite a few that were quite high on A&M. And it says 8th. Is that what he had him at?
He had them at 9.
9. 9 makes the NCAA tournament. 9 is a team that, can potentially go to the second round of the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. That's fine. There's too many unknowns. We don't know the chemistry. We don't know how these guys are going to shoot together. There's so many unknowns for everybody, but especially for Bucky's team in year 2 of a system that had to kind of completely rebuild. Your best player has moved on to play professional basketball.
I found his preseason poll from 2025, and he had Texas A&M at number 13.
Okay. And he was high on him. 13 was a team that could be a tweener NCAA tournament team, and they were better than that. They were a first-place team for quite a while. Look, the theme this week, this month, has been like projections, because that's what everybody's doing, from basketball to football. And I don't want you to like turn on the show off, but like projections are usually like, sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't, right? Like, which is why I go back to my commentary about the brand. If you believe in the brand, I believe in Elko, I believe in Bucky, right? When we're talking about these two programs in particular for this. I believe in both of them. So if you believe in those brands more often, that like, let's use Kirby Smart for a moment. I think Kirby has, especially at Georgia, if you were to go somewhere else, maybe not the same resources, but I think if Kirby goes anywhere, you believe Lane Kiffin. The brand is he's going to win.
Yes.
Maybe not a national championship, maybe not some of the big games in his career. I know he's had some struggles there. But Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin, these are brands that we know that have done it for an extended period of time. We have not seen Bucky do it for an extended period of time. We have an insider's view. Luke gets to go see practice. He reports back. He's very high on it. So we can have a little bit more faith in it because our guy is there watching it, right? And has the access to it. So all that being said, I'm totally fine with that. I'd love to get Luke in here next week and maybe ask him what he thinks about it, like what is fair. So we had, who was number 2? I know that Florida was 1. Who was 2? Arkansas?
Let me go back to it.
Arkansas was definitely in the top 4, I believe. I don't remember if you had them 2 or 4, but I feel like they were in the top 4 of this. But, you know, to be in the top 10 of a conference that got, 13, 14 teams 2 years ago, and last year, however many teams that they had. So, do you have that?
Yes, Texas was 2.
Texas was 2. Who was 3?
Tennessee.
And 4 was Arkansas?
And
You're against telling me the truth. Because I can't handle the truth. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll get that answer on the other side. And we'll just chit-chat till we talk to Joe Doyle here in a little bit. Right now, Milliken Reserve time. Farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They're dedicated to the conservation of a healthy community, 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails, and homes. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that includes walking and equestrian paths, creeks, and gathering areas. When you go there, you can go hiking, you can go biking, you can go canoeing, you can do it all. It is a place that wants to connect your family with nature and to each other. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. Hey everybody, David Nuno here, TexAgs Live, here with Sheldon and Danny Shelley of Aggieland Hydration. Sheldon, I want to start off with you. What is Aggieland Hydration and who do you serve?
So we're a mobile IV company. We serve the Bryan College Station area, and we are licensed under our medical director to work anywhere in the state of Texas, but given the name, we're focused on the Bryan College Station area.
Danny, how do appointments work?
So when a client calls in, they can call into our main line, or we have an online booking process. We get a quick little bit of information, name, date of birth, the address of where we're going to go, kind of what's going on. We give that information over to our nurse, and usually they can arrive within 30 minutes to an hour.
Danny, who's this geared towards? Is it more for like sick people, athletes, people who've been partying? Who is this for?
All the above.
Okay.
And it just really depends on what you're getting after. Sheldon travels a lot, so I give him an IV once a week. Some people get it just as needed, like when they're sick or if they've been working, in the yard all weekend, if they just had a big workout, stuff like that.
And all right, Sheldon, help me out. Why do I not just drink a bunch of water or juice? Like, why go the IV route?
Yeah, so drinking water orally, you don't absorb it all. So getting a liter of fluids into your bloodstream directly, you feel the results better. And it's equivalent to drinking about almost 2.5 gallons of water.
All right, that's Aggieland Hydration. How do people check you out?
They can go to our website at aggielandhydrationandinjectables.com.
Or you can call them up at 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. Let's see, who wrote this? Apex, or AgX 80 PETE.
Easy there.
Huh? Pardon? What did I say?
I've nothing. I was just expecting it to go a naughty route.
Oh, yeah, I do have to be careful on these. You guys will get me. My name is Ron Burgundy. Question mark? Anyway, he says Alabama's my pick to lose 2 more games. They're on the way down. Think about this for a second, and I want this to kind of like, for people to think about it. No matter who follows Nick Saban is going to be down, right? But they did go to the playoffs, and they won a game in the playoffs on the road in Norman, right? So, like, I'm looking at that schedule. The first half of the schedule, I only see Georgia as the hiccup. The second half, A&M, LSU. So I don't know, like, when you say on the way down, yes, they're not Saban's Alabama. Who is? But I don't know if they're like down. Now, the question will be if they get embarrassed, because what did they lose to Indiana? 38-3? I think they lost 38-3, right? That's embarrassing.
It was bad, yeah.
So would we have traded our season for theirs? I don't know. I liked winning 11 games. That felt really good. But winning a game in the playoffs would have felt a lot better. Getting destroyed in the next game wouldn't have felt good. Especially when I, 2 years ago, thought A&M would beat Indiana 2 years ago. When I didn't believe in Cignetti. I thought he was good, but I was like, bro, you haven't played anybody. Well, last year, everybody they played, they demolished. Except for, Penn State, and the Miami game was close. Anyway, so to me, it's a very Alabama. I think this year will determine the up or the down. They could stay where they are, right? They could be a team that wins 9-10 games and they're right there. And, yeah, you expect more, but that's where you are. There's that option. Would they go after Sark if that were the case?
I feel like they do have a chance to lose too, because obviously Ty Simpson, I don't know.
We had questions about Ty Simpson last year, before the season started. Right? And now it's Keelan Russell and the other gentleman. I think Keelan Russell's got the lead, if you believe what people out of Tuscaloosa are saying. That being said, yeah, they did lose their quarterback. I see what you're saying there, Ag. They have huge unknowns. They're not scoring in the portal recruit. You're right. I just don't think their schedule is that ridiculous. Yeah, I agree. You're not wrong, though. Could they lose 2 more games? Absolutely. These games are all so tight in the SEC, which is why I for a while was defending the SEC. But yeah, we're the deeper, better conference. It doesn't matter who wins the championship. That's who won, right? At the end of the day, who wins it all? Well, I'm not going to talk soccer, but in soccer, the EPL is the deeper European league, right? But they don't always win the championship, right? They just don't. What? You don't know anything about what I'm talking about?
I don't know much soccer.
Right. A lot of people say the French league is one of the weakest leagues. PSG's won 2 Champions Leagues. Anyway, it doesn't matter who's the last man standing.
Anyone can win.
Indiana proved anyone can win. You're right. Anyone can win.
They did have a super veteran team, but
they did. And a quarterback who caught fire.
Yeah.
And a coach who just does it right. Play good defense, have explosive plays. Didn't get too beat up during the regular season. That's how you win a freaking national championship. All right, when we come back here on TexAgs Live, we're going to talk to Joe Doyle about the MLB draft. It's coming up here in a few weeks.
The 10th and 11th, I
10th and 11th, yeah. So right before we go to SEC Media. Usually it's the same weekend that we leave for SEC Media Days. This one's a week earlier. All right, we'll get to that on the other side. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Garner's Jewelers. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. A little baseball, 30 minutes here with Bronny in studio. And then we go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, joined by one of the sharpest MLB draft analysts out there, Joe Doyle, joining us from Overslot Baseball. Joe, thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
What's up, guys? It's good to join.
I appreciate it. So I'll start off, I guess, broad stroke. A&M's got 3 dudes that could go pretty high in this MLB draft. Just give me your thoughts on where Hakopian, Grahovic, and Sorrell are potentially going to end up.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hakopian is pound for pound one of the best hitters in the class. I mean, I know he's not the most athletic guy in the class. He's got some questions on the defense, but it's a pure hitter. It's plus raw power. Those guys usually don't last very long, regardless of whether or not he's going to play first base at the next level. I think he's going to be a top 15 pick. I would say the Marlins at 14 or 15, probably the floor they go for players like that. Sorrell and Grahovic are a little bit more polarizing. I could see Sorrell jump as high as the top 25, 30 picks if there's a team that really believes they can get him to hit a little bit more than he has, improve the pitch selection skills. But I do think that he's going to be in the top 55 or 16. And then I think Grahovic's in a similar range. I think he goes somewhere in the meat of the second round. I would gamble that he's going to be a 45 to 70 type guy. All these guys are going to go in the top 2 rounds.
Joe, do you think that Gavin's positional versatility and his ability to just show some real baseball player, do you think that appeals to certain organizations that maybe they're looking for more of that model?
Yeah, listen, I mean, Grahovic has been a legitimate prospect. He's got pedigree going back to his sophomore year of high school. Scouts know who he is. Big league organizations know who he is. He's dealt with injuries. It's bounced him around on the diamond. But anyone that's actually watched Gavin play right field, have watched him throw in from the outfield, know he's got a chance. He's got a chance to play outfield. He's got a chance to play third base. He's got good physical tools. Whoever does end up drafting Gavin Grahovic will not be putting him at first base in the low minors. They are going to give him a chance to play one of those more demanding positions, try and get a little bit out of the athlete there. So, yeah, to your point, I wouldn't expect him to play first base until he gets to the big leagues, into that final level. They should probably keep him, like I said, in right field or third base as an early pro.
You know, we jumped right into the A&M stuff here, but I also wanted to ask you about big picture stuff with the MLB draft. The players and the owners are so far away, right? And with an impending lockout coming, talks of cutting down the minor leagues, what do you think this thing looks like in 2027?
So I don't think this is going to be impacted much in 2027, just because I think we're going to see the strike, we're going to see the lockout end in February or March. And at that point, college baseball will have started. High school baseball will have perhaps started in most of the country. And because of that, I would be surprised if they shortened the draft 3 months before it were to take place. There's a lot of decisions being made by kids prior to that. So I do think in 2028, we're going to see a shortening, though. We're going to see the low A, affiliates get cut out of minor league baseball, I would think, in 2031. So my guess would be 2028, we're going to see a 15-round draft, and then maybe 29 and 30, you see it cut down to like 12 rounds, which is a real shame because as someone that grew up with 50 rounds in the draft, seeing it continue to shrink and get smaller is a bit of a bummer.
And then the effect of this impending 5-for-5 rule, I know that there's conversations happening not only at Texas A&M but across college baseball, especially at the programs that have the financial ability to make a competitive offer for the round 4, 5, 6 guy. We just saw it with Monster Milam at LSU. Do you think this impacts the professional baseball model at all with now these colleges, especially in the SEC, the ability to buy back a guy with draft leverage?
Well, it's not only that. I mean, it's killing scouts. It's killing scouts in rounds 7 through 20 because that was where you made your feast, right? You drafted the small school kid that had big traits, that had projection, that had pitch shapes, and was untapped potential. Well, that kid, instead of making $225,000 in the draft, is now getting $175,000 from A&M. Look at Garrett Lambert from Mercer. That's a kid that was going to go in the 6th round. Alabama scoops him up for, 120, 140K, and he's off the board. And I think there's so many examples of that in this transfer portal era where guys are just going to get the opportunity to extend their college careers, get paid a little bit more, get to play in brighter lights and potentially improve their draft stock. So, yeah, I mean, not only do you see it with guys like Ryan Prager in 2024, you see it with guys in the transfer portal as well. It's an entirely new era. It's an entirely new landscape for college baseball, and it is making the MLB draft very, very confusing and complicated.
To kind of segue into that, Clayton Freshcorn is a kid that I've talked to scouts of, I believe, 5 organizations in the last week or so. I've talked to 3 of them have posted him as a starter, 2 have posted him as a reliever. First of all, your assessment of Clayton Freshcorn, and then this is one that it feels like with this new 5 for 5, and he's also got the JUCO year, that if A&M can make a competitive offer, if he's posting as a reliever in rounds 4 through 7, the Aggies may get him back.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I have him going in rounds 4 through 6. He will be drafted by a team that believes he can start. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. There's going to be a greater value piece on his head if you believe he can start. But to your point, rounds 4 through 7, you're talking about bonuses that are anywhere between $300 and $600K. And for a team like Texas A&M, a team that does have money, if you can make a competitive offer, hey, Clayton, come back to school, we'll give you $225, give you $250K, give you the opportunity to pitch in the rotation in 2027, perhaps kind of staple your name as a starting pitcher in the 2027 draft. That's going to be really appealing to Freshcorn. He's a perfect example of the type of guy that is right on the fringes. Does he go pro? Does he, staple in that professional spot right away, or does he go back to A&M and like you said, cement himself as a starting pitcher candidate rather than a leverage reliever?
Joe, I want to go back to the 3 bats we talked about. I understand where they're kind of penciled in to go in the draft, but who, in your opinion, has the highest ceiling and maybe also the highest floor?
Well, the easy answer is Hakopian. Hakopian has the highest floor for sure. He's not going to be a guy that adds value on defense. He's not going to be a guy that adds value running the bases. But he is going to be a guy that it's hard to see Chris Hakopian not hitting 270 with 18 to 22 pumps at the next level. He's just a professional hitter. He's never slowed down. Injuries kind of, got him in the mud a little bit in 2026, but the swing decisions are elite. The bat to ball is elite. He gets to the pull side. He lifts the baseball. He's going to be fine. I think it's hard to look at Caden Sorrell and not drool over what the ceiling is. I mean, he's never been able to put it together from a pitch selection and bat to ball skill perspective, but this is an above average to plus runner. It's an above average to plus defender in a corner. He can perhaps be an above average defender in center field if he can stay healthy. That's been a big if for him. It's at least plus raw power that he gets to effortlessly. I've said it a long time. I've said it for the last 3 years, going back to his high school days. Caden Sorrell reminds me so much of the tool package that Jared Kelnick brought to professional baseball. Now, I want to pause, listeners. Jared Kelnick was the number 2 prospect in the sport. He's an incredible athlete and he's a good baseball player. He's never been able to put it together at the big league level. I think if Caden Sorrell has a similar tool package as Kelnick, but he finds it and he puts it together, you're talking about a guy that could be a 4-win outfielder and can play any of the 3 outfield spots as a pro.
Joe, when you look at kind of the trends of the Major League Baseball draft, maybe what you're hearing behind the scenes, what do you think will be featured here through the first couple of rounds where everybody, the college baseball world, the college baseball fan will kind of be sweating the first 4 or 5 rounds. But what do you think these trends are? Because the Aggies are all, and everybody else, are welcoming in freshmen this week for summer school, some of which will be on campus for about a month.
Well, I think the trends are going to be that you see more high-profile high school players make it to campus, and I think that is going to be really apparent in the SEC. And it's not going to be the guys that are projected to go in the top 2 rounds. Those guys always get drafted. They always get paid. There's too much money on the board for a guy to walk away from $2.5 million. But it's that guy that's a 4th rounder, that's a 5th rounder, that's a 6th rounder that is questioning whether or not he's going to be able to get playing time in the SEC. That guy's going to get to school because he's getting a little bit of a bag. He's getting a little bit on top of the scholarship. He's getting a little bit of NIL. So I think you are going to see some high-profile guys get to campus, specifically in the SEC. But the other thing that you're going to see specifically in the 2026 draft is you're going to see college pitchers flying off the board. I mean, this is not a great year for the high school shortstop. It's not a great year for the high school athlete in the draft in general. I think you're going to see teams kind of reach for safety, reach for guys that they know are going to post up, become big leaguers. So you could see upwards of 12 to 14 college pitchers go in the first 35 picks. And you could see guys that are ranked outside of the top 50 go inside of the first round too. It's that safe demographic that teams like.
Because it's a little bit of a dearth on the high school shortstop, which typically does get indexed on by big league clubs, especially the high caliber athlete. Where do you think Trey Ebel fits in all of this? Because I think, talking to people that were in Arizona at the Combine, very impressive with the way he moved. Obviously, there's a lot of pedigree and bloodlines there. I'm looking at Texas A&M's incoming class and going, that's probably one that's far-fetched that he's going to stay on campus.
Would be stunned if Trey Ebel got to campus. I was in Phoenix. I watched him work out. I spoke with him. He's an impressive kid. He really knows exactly who he is, which I think is impressive for a guy his size. Trey Ebel's not a big guy, but he carries himself with the sort of confidence and assurance that, hey, I am what I am. I'm good at what I'm good at. And that really came through in team meetings as well. And then, you look at a guy who's 5'9", 5'10", maybe 5'11" on a good day. You watch him hit. He's got a little bit more juice, a little bit more bat to ball than you would expect. But then you watch him take infield and you automatically presume, okay, this guy, not a prototype shortstop frame. He's probably not going to play the position, right? I mean, he was one of the top 3 or 4 from an actions standpoint at the shortstop position on the week. I think he threw away all concerns that he's going to play second base at the next level. He is a true shortstop. He is a hittable shortstop, and I think he's going to go in the second round.
And a guy that was out there in Arizona who was close by in his homestead there at Castile High School was Ryan Harwood, who came in with not a ton of draft buzz, but left because of the exit velos after his round of BP. I think has some people intrigued.
Harwood's a guy that I've known going back to his, junior year of high school, big, physical, left-handed hitter. I think there's some questions as to whether or not it's going to be in the outfield, whether or not it's going to be at first base. And yeah, I mean, he's a big, strong kid. He's built like an Amazon truck. The exit velos have always been there. The thing with Harwood is getting the ball in the air. He's got some attack plane issues. He hits the ball on the ground quite a bit, but he does get to the pull side. He knows how to get the barrel out. So I think for me personally, I would encourage Harwood to get to campus to really refine who he is as an offensive player, an offensive package, and see if you can't push yourself in the top 2 or 3 rounds. Turn yourself into $2.5 million player in the 2029 draft. I think that general demographic, the corner profile guy that doesn't lift the ball, doesn't get to his exit velocities easily, is usually a tough player to get drafted out of high school. But we'll have to wait and see on Ryan.
How much do you look ahead at future drafts? I know you're probably swimming in it with draft and analysis and information leading up to what we got here in a few weeks. But I'm asking because Nico Partita is with Team USA right now and is just continues to be highly, highly productive. It's a highly skilled player and not a prototypical body. And then you've got another freshman that was in the lineup for the Aggies this year, and Jorian Wilson, who has got to be a scout's dream. So when you look at the youngsters on the A&M roster, kind of how do you see them still with 2 years of college baseball left, but how do you see them kind of upping their draft stock while in college?
Yeah, I mean, I have a top 150 board that's out. It's public for 2027. I have a top 100 board that's out for 2028. And I've started building the 2029 board at this point with these guys that are pulling their names out of the draft, these high schoolers. Partita's number 1. He's the number 1 player on the 2027 board. I think Texas A&M fans are going to be remarkably surprised at how this kid plays shortstop in 2027 if he gets the opportunity, if he gets the reps. I watched him in high school. I know he's big. I know he's broad. I know he looks like a lumbering type of an infielder. He can move. He's got quick first step quickness. He's got lateral mobility, and he's got an absolute cannon on him. So I would give him the chance to play a bit more shortstop than he did in 2026 next season. He's got top 10 pick upside. It's plus power. It's bat to ball skills. It's dynamic athleticism. He's going to be a name to watch in 2027. Jorian Wilson is cut from the exact same cloth as Caden Sorrell. He's obviously bigger. He's stronger. He's got a better arm, but it's a ton of baseball card counting stats with quite a bit of swing and miss and quite a bit of expanding the zone. So another example of let's give this guy some time. Let's see if he kind of improves his pitch selection skills and improves his bat to ball skills. But when you look at Jorian Wilson, you look at the way that he's built, you look at the tools that he has, the arm strength, the raw power. There's no way that guy makes it out of the top 3 or 4 rounds in 2028. He's going to be a high pick when he becomes eligible once more.
So do you think that production for a player like that, because he was so late to baseball and he really didn't play the high-level travel circuit where Nico Partita has been that player since he was 10 years old. Jorian didn't get there till he was 16 or 17 years old. With a player like Jorian, if the production, if the baseball card stats really start catching up and you start seeing a progression like we saw with Grahovic, just controlling his swing decisions, is the upside top 20 pick, top 15 pick overall for him?
Yeah, I think that's what you're looking at because I think it's a player that you can stick in right field. He's going to add value in the field. It's a guy that you can stick into the box and he's going to hit you 30 home runs. I saw Jorian Wilson play when he was a high school sophomore at Globe Life Field at the Future Star Series main event, and it was incredibly raw. It was incredibly, I think he swung and missed at every single slider he saw. I think he saw 9 of them in 2 days, 14 at bats, 9 sliders. He didn't hit one. And these are guys throwing 77, 78 miles an hour. But he also hit a fastball into right field at like 109 miles an hour. He's still figuring it out. He's still figuring out his swing. I mean, you guys might not remember this. Texas A&M fans might not remember this. Jorian Wilson committed to Texas A&M with like 4 months left in the recruiting cycle. This isn't a kid that was committed to the Aggies as a sophomore in high school. He committed as a senior. It was very, very late. So I expect that he's going to continue to get better, to continue to understand the college game and how he's getting pitched to. But yeah, the sky is the limit. He has first-round potential if, like you said, that development continues on this exponential path.
And before we let you go, Joe, the A&M staff did a great job of closing out one of the top bats in the portal, and Nate Savoy. I'm sure he's on your big board for 2027. What can you tell us about Nate from a scouting perspective?
Yeah, I have Savoy pretty juiced. He's in the top 10 picks for me in 2027. I still believe that the catching chops are going to catch up to the bat. The bat is it for me. For me, it was the best bat in the portal. It's bat to ball skills. It's plus raw power. It's pitch selection. He takes the ball to the opposite field. He has his raw power that he can use to the opposite field gap. He is an absolutely potent hitter, and I would expect that he steps in, bats third, bats fourth, the type of guy that comes in, hits, he could hit 320 with 25 home runs in the SEC right away. It's similar to what Chris Hakopian was coming into 2026. Hakopian was my top bat coming into 2026. I wish he would have stayed healthy so we could really see what he could have done in 1 year in College Station, but Savoy's in the exact same camp. He should be one of the most impactful players on that roster next season.
Joe, great stuff, man. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's do it again, all right?
All right, guys. Sound good?
Thank you very much. Joe Doyle doing great work here. And as we get close, what are we, 2 weeks away from the draft?
Yeah. That's right.
2 weeks away. All right. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, continuing on with Bronny here in studio. All right, so you and I had a conversation off air, right? Because I was gone for a week, and I saw the stuff that was happening, and I've been paying attention, but I didn't know how to feel about this A&M baseball offseason, right? How do you feel about this A&M baseball offseason so far?
Well, let me say this before we answer that. That interview with Joe Doyle was one of the most informative, and I listened to, you have great guests, and you've like killed it with the guests, and so with the girls when they came in, they killed it with the guests. That, in terms of real information, was baseball, as good as anybody that I can remember. I hope we continue to have him on. Like, he would be, if you're an Aggie baseball fan or just a fan of the baseball draft in general, like, that was incredibly thorough, to the point. Like, he didn't just babble on. He made his points, made them efficiently. I was really impressed with him.
For a national guy to know the Jorian Wilson story the way he did, like, you know, like almost like I heard that from you, like from the very beginning. Like, you're an inside, you're as inside as it gets. For a national guy to know that kind of nuance, which I don't know how he prepared for, he just knew it. I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he was. I hope we have him on again.
Yep.
That was, if you're an Aggie baseball fan, you really, really enjoyed Joe Doyle. To answer your question about the summer, this has been a hugely productive summer so far for Michael Early, and we can go through it, and I'll wheel through the bullet points. But saying that with still the caveat of they got to finish.
Yep.
Like, they need a right-handed bat with a little bit of thump if they can find it in the portal.
Is that out there still?
The portal closed at midnight. Mm-hmm. There's still going to be some names trickle out, you know, as the paperwork gets done and the names get filed. There are a couple of options out there. The coaching staff is pouring through those. You're also going to have, you know, there's going to be some decisions. Like Clayton Freshcorn coming back would be
huge.
Massive. And an offseason full of important happenings for the program, that might be the most important one for next year's team.
Would he be a starter?
Oh, without question.
Okay.
And then you go from a starting rotation that's got some question marks in it to, oh, we've got Aiden Sims and Clayton Freshcorn on the weekend. You're going to walk into every preseason conversation about pitching staff in a completely different realm than you were last year. And so if you go start checking the boxes of what Michael Early has done just so far, it's for his team, but also his program. Like, you can see the steady progression, the maturity in the seat, the time in the seat, the experience, kind of the cutthroat nature of him understanding of the world that he's living in now, and the total responsibility of running a program. And it started with firing Jason Kelly, a guy that he'd known a long, long time. And he had made the decision to fire him. And then he goes out and hires Barry Enright. And then he goes out and hires Nolan Cain. And then he lands the number one bat in the transfer portal in Nate Savoy. And then he completely overhauls the pitching staff. Completely. They've got 7 commitments on the pitching side. There's been 6 that have come out publicly. We're waiting on 1 more to announce publicly. But they've got 7 pitchers coming in. And of those 7 pitchers, they all fit different roles. So not only have you beefed up what could potentially be weekend rotation, you've also beefed up the bottom end. You know, so like just the overall profile of the pitching staff has been completely flipped in one offseason, and they had to do that. And then on top of all that, the player facility is nearly done. And that will be hugely important for the progress of the current team, future teams, recruiting, the whole thing. So if you're just looking at it right now, you'd have to say this offseason has been hugely productive. This summer's been very productive for Coach Early and the Aggie baseball program, with still understanding they got to finish. They got to close it out and armor 2 more. There's 2 commitments that have not been announced. One of them is a pitcher, one of them is not. Okay? So there is going to still be probably 1 more bat added, or at least the search will continue for 1 more bat, and then an arm or 2 more. So you could be looking at a transfer portal haul of 12 players, 13 players, something like that. And depending on what the names are, you look at that. Right now, 64 Analytics, who does a pretty good job. I mean, portal rankings are impossible, like, to do and get them accurate.
Sport. Yeah.
And I think, like, if Mike Elko or Mike Early looked at that list, they would probably laugh at it because they understand, like, how flippant some of these transfer portal rankings are. But 64 Analytics, I think, does a good job of trying to just compile every bit of data that they can for these players. So even if it's the mid-major player or the kid that was at P4 that wasn't used. They look at their profile rather than what they've done to determine where they are as prospects. And right now, 64 Analytics has A&M as the number 7 portal class. When they get these 2 silent commitments announced publicly, they could bump up to number 5. You'd have to call that pretty successful.
I think so, yeah.
So
you answered your questions, and you had the number 5 class.
Yes. And what you haven't done, and I don't know that it was possible that you were going to do it, is you haven't replaced pound for pound the physicality of Grahovic, Sorrell, Hanakopian, and even Bear in the lineup. Now, you've got one in Savoy, which is a big one.
Right.
And you're hoping for continued jumps from Nico and Jorian, who are with Team USA and playing well. And then you brought in Jack Bell, who hit over 300 in a P4 conference last year. Jack Bell, very, very skilled player. Lane Arroyos, there's kind of your Jake Dewar replacement. So you've done some good things, but you haven't replaced the physicality in totality of what you've lost. But I don't know that you were going to be able to do that in the transfer portal. It was just...
You can win differently.
Yes. And how do you win differently? You know, all you have to do is score more than the other team. That doesn't mean you got to score 9 to 12 runs every time you go out.
You can score 6, but keep them to 4, you win.
You can score 5.
Yeah.
You can score 4. And what they've done, and you know, a lot will be determined on what is Barry Enright. We still don't know. I'm hoping to get him by so we can talk to him and get a full breakdown of what his plan is for this pitching staff and his overarching themes of what he wants from his pitchers. But if you believe that Barry Enright's going to be really good, then he's got a lot to work with. I mean, just look at what's coming back on the pitching side. And if these questions, not even all of them, but if some of them get answered with positivity, you're going to be like, wow, this is a really complete pitching staff. David Ramirez, Caden McCoy, Clayton Freshcorn, Aiden Sims coming back, Cooper Powell. Like, what is Cooper Powell? He's pitched very well at the end of the year. What does he look like next year? So there's a lot. Gavin Lyons.
Yeah.
Can he develop something that goes the other direction for Gavin Lyons, which would be a game changer for him? So even with the guys coming back on the pitching staff, Hunter Vincent was striking out 2 guys an inning in California this summer.
Sounds like you are more bullish of this team today than you were a year ago today, and you were pretty high on that team. No?
Well, yeah, you had Grahovic and Sorrell coming back, and you landed Hakopian, right? But it's going to be a different looking team. Like I don't know that they're going to hit another 100 home runs.
Yeah,
they're going to be potent offensively, and then we haven't even talked about what is Terrence Keel II's. He's playing really well in the Cape. Maybe he's figured some stuff out with his swing. What is Blake Benderup? You look at Blake Benderup's career, and I know he's had some ups and downs, but
he's had a lot of ups this past year.
Yeah, he did. And what if he's your right-handed thunder at DH off the bench? That kind of thing. So, and they just keep making steps forward with time in the program, and TK has as much upside as anybody.
Yeah.
So maybe TK kind of figures out who he is and is more of the everyday guy in center field and can answer some questions on the right-handed batter's box. But yeah, it's certainly with what they've done this summer, you can be encouraged, happy, and bullish on, all right, look at the coaching staff. Now look at the roster and look at just the overall trajectory and the movement of the program forward. And you'd have to be like, all right, like
we're on the right path.
Yeah, we're on the right path for sure.
Right. Thank you, Bronny. We'll come back with your partner in the recruiting team, Jason Howell, next on TexAgs Live. And we are back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. And we go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our buddy Jason Howell with us. We just had a part of your team here a few minutes ago. Now we go to you.
Hey, always a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us, man. Hey, so look, I don't know if this is where you wanted to start, but the people on the YouTube chat, they kind of command me. They tell me we got to start with Joshua Dobson. I'm reading stuff online. I know there's some stuff behind the paywall at texags.com that people should go read. But what can you tell us up to the moment right now that's out there?
Well, there's a lot of speculation as to where he's going to go. But there's no evidence he's told anybody exactly where he's going to go. He's keeping this thing quiet, close to the vest as you head down the backstretch. I think he's set to announce around 5 o'clock tonight. And I don't think anybody's truly going to know what his pick is going to be. Texas A&M, South Carolina, Michigan seem to be the main ones being talked about. Auburn's there in his top 4 as well. South Carolina, there's a lot of talk about the Gamecocks' chances, and I know they have had some quiet confidence throughout this thing, even before, the last few weeks. It's not like this is some late charge by the Gamecocks. I think they've been counting on everyone to kind of count them out, you know what I mean, and kind of overlook them as a viable option. And I can tell you that Josh Dobson is a guy that they're going to do everything they can, NIL wise, to make it hard for him to say no. So there are some definite dots that you can connect that can make you think highly of the Gamecocks' chances. As far as A&M, I can tell you that he's spoken very highly of the Aggies throughout this process. He's visited multiple times, saw A&M twice this fall, once in South Bend, Indiana, and he's visited multiple times since January, and has a ton of close connections in this A&M recruiting class, and just likes a lot of different aspects of what A&M brings to the table, on and off the field, and loves the coaching staff and the direction of the program. So I think you can make a strong case there, and of course Michigan is Michigan. So they of course have several different factors that they can bring to the table. He's keeping everybody guessing. This is old school. This is like following recruiting back in 1995, early 2000s, where everybody didn't have a great idea and there were 10,000 crystal balls telling you exactly where a kid was going to go. I kind of like it.
Jason, is this one of these that you think that committed class is maybe like, hey, don't forget about what we can do special here at Texas A&M? Is it one of those things that they can play a role in this at this point?
Well, I think they have played a role in it all the way through. So he's got noted connections with a lot of these guys. We talked about in other cases where the All-American games have really done A&M a great service in putting together this recruiting class. And this is another one where he played with multiple guys, has long-standing relationships, not just with the All-American games, but a lot of these high-level national camps. He's gone to a lot of these things with guys that are in that A&M class and that he has strong connections with, and those guys have been in his ear. So, and it's not always like, hey, it's not like they're trying to hard sell him on A&M as much as, like you said, hey, this is something we've talked about, something we can do together. You can see the future, and it's. I think he has told us in the past, I want to go somewhere where I'm not the only big dog in the class. I want to go somewhere where there's a group and kind of an iron sharpens iron situation. And I think that that is something he sees in that Texas A&M class that is a major plus for him. Not only those relationships, but knowing the talent level that's there.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live. All right, Jason, the last week has been pretty good for Texas A&M recruiting, on the recruiting front, I should say. Let's kind of work our way backwards, and we'll start off with Eric McFarland. That was a huge get just a couple days ago.
Oh yeah, let's not skip over what's been added to the class. And you're right, Eric McFarland is a highly, he's just a major addition to the class. He brings a dynamic that, quite frankly, A&M hasn't added from the recruiting standpoint from the high school ranks in a long time. He's a dynamic, multi-purpose, and 4.3 40, 10.8 as an 8th grader, and a guy that at the highest level of high school football at IMG, he's been their 2-time Offensive Player of the Year. He was a team captain. He was offensive player of the game at the Polynesian Bowl. He and this is a guy who reclassified from 28 in December. So he brings a dynamic playmaking force to the table at the receiver position. A guy that you can use in a variety of different ways. You can put him back there in the return game. You can bring him around and do so many different things. Think, Anaya Smith, Terry Bussey, those kind of guys that you can Swiss Army knife out there. And he's got that, Mario Craver, Concepcion kind of playmaking ability that they showed last year. He has that kind of upside, and he's shown it at a high level in the high school ranks. You beat Georgia and Florida. Ohio State was heavily involved throughout this. Tennessee, you name it. He was pursued by these schools at a high level. A&M, Coach Wiggins, Coach Perry, the whole staff. Coach Elko did a phenomenal job just letting him know that vision. He's been saying it, I want to say, probably since January, where, hey, I can be that Mario Craver type. And it was easy for him to put those pieces together because he could turn on the tape and go, yep, it's real similar to what I do. And maybe I can add even another dimension to it. So just a 5-star, another 5-star, another big time get out of IMG. I think he brings it to 8 commitments in the class that have achieved a 5-star status in at least one industry ranking. That says a lot about the talent that A&M's putting together right there.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live. All right. So that was on the 28th. And then on the 26th, Damani Warren from Las Vegas, another wide receiver. Another one.
Well, and we talk about Craver with McFarland. Isaiah Horton's an easy comparison when it comes to Damani Warren. You're talking about 6'4", 6'5", 205, 210-pound receiver. That's a fluid athlete that showed he can, not only stretch the field on the outside, but he can make adjustments on the fly, locate the ball, has a great catch radius, and can do some things over the middle as well. So he's a playmaker after the catch, and again, I think you're talking about a guy that got knocked for an injury, and so his ranking may not be as high as some others, but this is a high ceiling guy like McFarland. He's from Las Vegas, and I like the gambler's man mentality here, rolling the dice with a couple big time Nevada prospects in the receiving core there.
All right, Jason. So June ended on a heater. What do you think about July?
Well, we'll find out tonight. Just how well it's going to go. You get a big win with Dobson, and you're set up to watch. We got Makai Allen, on the 11th. You've got some. I think Jaden Fields out of Hutto just announced he's got a July 7th announcement. He's on A&M's radar right now. I tend to think others may be. They may put together a package a little bit better than what A&M's going to come to the table with. So we'll see what happens. I know a few of his final options have already offered his little brother, and we'll see what happens there. So, but then you got Ishmael Kamara, 5-star, who's talking about nearing a commitment, which that was it didn't come out of nowhere, but I know there's some dynamics there that have led many to believe he would take more time with his process. And but if he makes that decision, I don't see that going A&M's way. But you've got and then you got Landon Williams-Callis, 5-star running back out of the Houston area. That I know there's been some projections the other way, but I think A&M's demise there may be grossly exaggerated. I'm not saying that they're the favorite, but they are very high on his list. I feel pretty comfortable saying that. Just talking to several different sources and knowing A&M's status there over the course of his recruitment. Yeah, those are kind of the main ones to watch as we gear up for July. I wouldn't be surprised to see all those guys come off the board by the end of the month. We like I said, we have dates for Dobson tonight. We have Jaden Fields on the 7th, and then you have Makai Allen with the 11th, and then a couple more there in Kamara and Landon Williams-Callis who don't have dates, but have talked about visiting or talked about making decisions. Right now, I like the chances. I like another addition or two out of that group, and we'll see. I think that put A&M right around 27, and you might see a few more, develop over the course of the season or something. But 27 going into the fall would be about right where we put them at, and even without any more additions, A&M's got a pretty good stranglehold on that number 1 ranking. And that's exactly where I think. I don't think Elko and company said we got to be number 1 in the recruiting rankings, but I think they've closed on a great majority of their top targets and have positioned themselves well with a strong season this fall.
All right, Jason, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with a very short second one here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's. We got about 4 minutes left here on Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. Jason, I wanted to ask you, so yesterday, organically, it came up on the show about Jimbo and the recruiting efforts that he did, and if he left A&M in a different position than he found it. From a recruiting perspective, you think so, right?
Yeah. And where I'm coming from, it's not necessarily like where they landed in the team recruiting rankings. It's more of they were able to, I guess, dive into recruiting territories and many more recruiting territories than previously with Jimbo leading that way. He certainly elevated the presence in Florida. You see much more. I think you had seen some like Washington D.C. additions in a couple previous classes under Sumlin, but the New Jersey, PA, the New York, Great Northeast, you definitely saw more of a presence there. Georgia, you started to see A&M become more of a presence. And if you really want to look at where the tide seemed to turn, I went back and I just kind of looked at the numbers a little bit. And for me, that 2020 recruiting class really stands out, where you had Mississippi, Florida, Illinois, Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana, New Jersey, North Carolina. You had, and these are all high-level, recruits. These aren't like, these are guys that were, among the top 5 in the state that A&M was able to go in and grab. And that 2020 class was the one that really saw a lot of that tide turn. Of course, 21 is the COVID class, and you saw them pursue a lot of guys from in-state and out-of-state as well. And then the 22 class, where you saw NIL come into play across the country, where A&M was able to go in and, you had a ton of different states represented there as well, and high-level prospects. But at that 2020 class is where I come back to as like where things really, they took a different kind of jump as far as out-of-state, in-state recruiting. Texas is obviously the home, always will be, and you're going to sign even, in this class where you have a ton of different states represented. You're going to have more Texas prospects than any other state, and that's what I'm talking about when I say Jimbo took things to a different level, elevated it. The brand had more recognition and more presence and across the country, and became more of a national brand under him, than any previous. I mean, you go back to 2003, the whole thing is all Texas. 2004, same thing. You may have a couple Louisiana kids, a couple JCs, a guy from California, but up until I think Sumlin kind of took things to a different level as well. But I think it was Jimbo who really elevated things, and that 2020 class is the one I go back to as the major jumping off point.
My friend, appreciate it. Have a great 4th of July.
Always, you too.
See you, man. Jason Howell there on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live. Tomorrow, Richard Zane's hosting the show because I take a lot of time off. And then on Friday, best of, because Nick takes a lot of time off. And then on Saturday, no show. Sunday, no show. But Monday, I'll be back for a full week. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We'll see you then.